Welcome to our Lunch and Learn series. This is a series with the Whole Being Institute and the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. My name is Caroline Colas, and I am the Senior Director of Health and Wellness here at the JCC. Today, we're going to be talking about happiness and service beyond borders with Maria Luisa Lulu Carter. The COVID-19 pandemic has made service to others on the list of critical global issues. In this session, Maria Luisa, also nicknamed Lulu Carter from Brazil, will lead us in a conversation focused on charity, community service, philanthropy, and service learning, both locally and globally. Luisa will discuss the importance of the role of the volunteer and caregiver and will demonstrate how the Whole Being Institute's SPIRE theory of well-being, spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional, connects happiness and the positive emotions that come from sharing your gifts through service. A little bit about Lulu. Maria Luisa Carter, Chief Happiness Officer and motivational speaker, was born in Sao Paulo. Maria Luisa, or Lulu as she likes to be called, began her professional career in education, the arts and community service in Rio de Janeiro, before moving first to Europe and then to the United States over 20 years ago. With degrees from Brazil in speech therapy, design, psychodrama, and a master's of Science and Education from Southern Connecticut University, Lulu views the world through an eclectic and multicultural prism. She has initiated projects that combine education, community service, and the arts through Brazil, including programs for street children in Rio and a sustainable ecotourism project at the Acatuba village in the Amazon. She founded the nonprofit organization Bigaya, dedicated to bringing the world together through programs of art, education, well-being, and travel. Lulu is the co-founder of Destination Partners Travel Management Company and House of Gaia nonprofit organization. She is particularly interested in providing services to children with different abilities and special needs. Welcome to the call, Lulu. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait for everyone to see your slide deck because I was saying earlier on the call, it makes me feel like I'm traveling when I get to see all those different photos of different parts of the world. But please tell us, where are you calling from and how did you get associated with the Whole Being Institute?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, all of you, to be here with me. There are 33 people, and I am so excited, just to be here with you and sharing this lunchtime. Thank you for the opportunity, Caroline, Phoebe Axon, and Whole Being Institute. Well, my first connection with Whole Being was through Phoebe Axon. She is part of the staff of Whole Being, and she's also my colleague as a psychodramatist. And she represents really well Whole Being. And I started taking some lessons, and I was introduced to SPIRE and the science of happiness, which made me really excited about that everything that I was doing, everything that I was breathing, everything had a science behind. So this made me really happy. And also through Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. He is my teacher. I am an alumni from his program as well. So it's a family. It's the constellation of people from science of happiness. And so I'm really happy to be here today. And I would like to thank everyone that gave me the opportunity to be here today.
Well, I know that gratitude is one of your top strengths, and I think it's led you to service. One of the things that we were talking about earlier and what the realization that I had was, oh my goodness, Lulu, you were doing all of these things. And then you learned when you took the program, there's a science behind it.
Yes.
That must have been an amazing, sort of reassuring discovery for you.
It was, I think the thing is that it felt like I was swimming against the current, because the currency, because what you see in life is just a struggle and difficulty, and then all of a sudden the meeting the community and meeting the people and meeting the ones that lifts you up and enlightens you and elevates you, like my friend Nancy Kirshner, she's a positive psychologist. therapist. And then when you start meeting those people, you don't see that you're going alone into this currency. And actually, there is a name for that currency, which is the happiness revolution. So I was just part of this happiness revolution, not knowing that I was part of the happiness revolution. That was
That,
really, really.
that's amazing. And I'm looking forward to hearing about how service and how charity and how working, especially with children and those with special needs, has really shaped and molded your what I'm going to call your positivity footprint.
Absolutely. Before we do that, I would like to know, I'm looking at the faces. I see new faces. I see people that are here to support me. So thank you so much for being here. And I would like just to take a moment and play just a little bit of song that represents what I'm going to talk about today. So if we can just start at the song, Caroline, in a more soft, and I would like just for us to sit and then imagine that we are in one room together. All right. My goal is for us to feel really close to each other. I know we are separate by the weather, by hemisphere, but imagine that if we were all in one room together. So if you needed to take a little breath, if you needed to take your shoes off, if you needed to just to stretch, whatever, exactly. Oh, look at how beautiful this movement is. Whatever you, feels good? If you guys can nod the head, and are you feeling connected? Yeah? Thank you. So
Feels good.
shall we start sharing?
Yes, please. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. I want everyone to see this beautiful slideshow and different parts of the world.
Beautiful. So as we all know, there is a life before COVID-19 and after, right? And we are now learning how to do the transition, correct? So we're gonna talk about what I know well, which is service learning, and I'm not gonna explain what is service learning, but also how to integrate, inspire your spiritual, your physical, your intellectual, your relational, your emotional, to social responsibility, social justice, and social inclusion. I find incredible how the media promotes social distance without even talking about the social responsibility. All of a sudden we are separated and we don't even know about our social responsibility, because if we knew, we would actually be in a better shape than we are right now. So I like to start saying that I have 41 years of experience with serving, community service, and later on with service learning. And my 3 top strengths, and you can get your strengths by doing VIA Institute test, and you can know what your top strengths. One is gratitude, the other one is spirituality, and the other one is creativity. So I was born in a family of philanthropic people, my parents, my grandparents, people that were actually in action, not doing just charity, but they were working on projects. They were invested in working in projects for community, including slums in Rio de Janeiro. So I grew up with role models. I grew up seeing my grandmother feeding lots and lots of people. I started going to orphanages at the age of 3, so I knew that this was path. I knew that this was life. And then I started officially working at age of 14 as an educator, going to orphanages in Brazil and teaching them how to write and how to read. Then during my youth group, my youth time and my teen times, I joined a youth group of my church, and we then started doing a lot of projects in Rio de Janeiro. During college time, I specifically was assigned to do work with the street children. And it's a very challenging work because these kids, before they even talk to you, they need to eat something, you know. So the criteria of helping street children, there are so many. Safety, there are so many criteria. And then I decided that I needed to open a preschool, and I was one of the pioneer preschools in Brazil where I had a focus on inclusion. Because at the time I was a speech therapist, and I felt that kids with disability had no place to go. And literally in Brazil, 28 years ago, that was the case. There was absolutely no place, and so they were discriminated and kept at home. So I started talking about gratitude because I was so grateful for the opportunities that I had in my life. I was so grateful about my parents and the work that they were doing in the world, that I had to be part of that. Then my spirituality, it's what led me to be in my purpose, to find my purpose. And I find my husband, Adam. I put him there because Adam believed in my dreams and believed in my outside the box ideas and thinkers. And I said, Adam, we do need to work more with service learning, which is a structured community service. You train people how to do community service, and you prepare the place for community service. And Adam said yes, and I think that's the whole approach of Whole Being Institute. You start with a yes, I'm doing this, you know? And so we had already a travel company that was kind of shifted from leisure company to a specialized company for universities. And our first program was Semester at Sea, which is floating universities. As you can see in the back, there is a Navy ship that held hundreds of children from all over the world, not children, I'm sorry, students, university students from all over the world, and they sail during a semester, going to many countries and learning all about service learning and other things. And that was successful, and so we extended to NYU University with the programs for Steinhardt and MLK, Martin Luther King Division, and I started putting programs for them as well. So I became a kind of a curriculum specialist for curriculum abroad. And then my mother, she asked me, because you guys gonna learn about my mom, she asked me, she said, yeah, beautiful, you're going globally, doing all these things globally, but what are you doing for your local community? And that struck me because I wasn't doing much. I was all around the world traveling, and I said, you know what, I need to do something. So I was hired to work on a nonprofit organization, Guadalupe Center, and working with migrant population and people from Haiti and Guatemala and Mexico, and then implementing education with them. So that kind of evolved with all the work that I was doing with the universities, and that comes the creativity in working with the Acajatuba village in Brazil, the children's home in Haiti, the Torgomed village in Ghana. I found that I needed to bring the world to Naples. Naples, it's a beautiful place, but doesn't embrace so much diversity. And me being Brazilian, I didn't feel quite embraced in Naples, you know? So I felt like I'm going to create this place called House of Gaia, which is the house of Mother Earth. And we're gonna work with children, all ages, and let's not put limits. Let's continue saying yes for inclusion. And so we founded House of Gaia. And then now I've been working with, how do I do this? How do I share my slide? Something, okay. So is this, can you see this participants 36?
We see the Love 2.0.
Okay, because I see something else. Hold on one second, let me try to move this. I don't know. So there is this Love 2.0. My mother gave me love, but more than give me love, she taught me the doctor's Barbara Fredrickson theory of love can be not just defined by your parents or by your family, but by the micro moments that you can have of connections with strangers. And I have here two people watching me that we experience a micro moment, and it's Marcy and her daughter, right, guys? Can you just say, can you wait? Yeah, we met in a conference, and we were connected immediately, and we shared immediately those mutual connections, you know, so building micro moments in life. And that is very important when you do the survey, because what my mother taught me is about love without borders. You know, love goes beyond just your family or your friends, and love can go anywhere, and you can take that and other people feel it, you know. And so that was one a picture of her in Haiti with me. So we go here to this elements of social responsibility, because we can't depend on the government to do everything for us. You know, we are a organism. We are connected. We are connected even if we like it or not like it, we are connected. And so how do we take that connection to a place of service, you know? And why do we do that? For me, it was about equality. It was about connectivity, meaningful connectivities. It was about these exchanges of cultures and exchanges of differences. It was about learning from each other. And that is something that I like to touch, because a lot of people think that doing mission or doing charity or doing things, you just give. But it's not quite like that. We give and we receive. There is this mutual exchange that I'm going to show in another slide. And as Nancy Kirshner says, is an infinite energy where there is a beautiful exchange as we sharing these moments. And so I put it here and I break it into some things, like what is charity? Is the voluntary giving. You're not asking for anything, you're just giving. You know, what is the philanthropy? Is when there is a strategy, when you're working on a project, when you have something that needs to have a strategy for moving forward. Service learning is a structure, it's a preparation for providing support. So when I go to Amazon and I take students to the Amazon, we needed to have a structure planned, structure in place. That's what happens in Haiti. I arrived in Haiti, there was no structure in the orphanage, and I created a structure so people that would go and serve and do charity and do help, they would feel like they are embedded into a structure, safe structure. Sharing is giving and receiving, and we do that all the time, you know. And then you have the help, when you provide support to someone. That could be a friend where you can call, that can be your neighbor, that can be anyone that you are willing to provide support. And then you have community service, which is working free to help your community. It's actually work, you know what you're doing, and you're going and you work. In my center, I decided that we were going to do 100% volunteer. So for 12 years, we operate over, before COVID-19, we were seeing 100 to 120 people a week, sometimes more, all run by volunteer people. And then how we can integrate all this concept of giving to inspire. So I'm having a difficulty here because I have something stuck into my screen. It's in the middle of my screen. And if I don't know what to do because I cannot read this.
Do you want me to read it?
Would you please?
Sure. So service learning, every journey begins with a single step. In Inspire, we have the spirituality, which is feel inspired, open your heart, let compassion and wisdom lead your soul journey to find your purpose in life. Did you want to comment about that one?
Yes. So I see spirituality when you are really following and opening your emotions and your empathy and your compassion to others. That's where my spirit resides. And that's where your light resides. And that's when you become different than others. Because when you open and you share that spirit with in a very much in compassionate way, you stand up in a crowd of people, you know, so that it's like letting your soul journey. So I would like just to stop, and I would like for all of you to think, where are you exercising your compassion at this moment? Without judgment, without critiques, without setting high expectations, where is the moment that you're sharing this compassionate heart that's yours? Let's go to physical.
Physical. Act according to your abilities, respect your limits, and overcome your obstacles with the help of others.
If you've done some community service, you know that some can be very difficult, because you go to rural areas. Sometimes you have to endure like heavy materials, you know. But I think the part of this is like knowing your abilities and saying, I cannot do this, but I can do that, you know, acknowledging that you can't just do everything, and also asking for help. Because most of the time, what happens with people that serve is that they feel like they have to do everything on their own, and they don't ask for help. And so I ask for help all the time, especially when I go to Haiti. There are a lot of strong kids, and I'm like, you guys, you help me to do this, and you help me to do that, you know. But understanding my abilities, otherwise I get burnt out. And it's part of self-care not to get burned out.
Beautiful. And intellectual. Measure risks, learn about other people's culture and needs, research projects, learn about your local nonprofits, scale projects of missions to your time, budget, and expertise, and align your vision with the right mission.
I think this is so important, because sometimes we have a big heart and our soul is searching for something, and we get into projects that are not our passion, you know. So finding what is that you want to do. And if you're not doing now, but if you want to do something, do your research. Also scaling the project to your time, because sometimes you say yes for everything and you're not going to fulfill what you said about this yes that you gave, you know. So budget. You can give it $2,000, give it $10, give it $25. It's better than nothing, you know, when it supports nonprofits organizations. I think that's very important to know that you can always give something.
Beautiful. Relational. Focus on your priorities. Remember your needs as much as their needs. Build healthy boundaries.
This is so important. It's so important, and I teach that quite a bit, because sometimes you get into areas and you start projecting your own needs to their needs. You know, like some kids, some students, high school students visit the orphanage in Haiti, and then all of a sudden they think that the kids need iPhones just because they need iPhones. No, you needed to be very conscientious about other people's needs in their culture, in where they are, and not to project your own needs on them, and be able to focus on your priorities. Because if you know, like in my life, and I'm gonna, this is very, very short, I went to Ghana and I became a queen mother, and I said yes for that. But in another visit, they gave me a child. They said, take this child back home. And so my priority wasn't going to Ghana and bringing children home. My priority was to, you know, to help them to understand how they could bring sustainability to their village. So I had it to be very nice, very kind, very gentle, to say, no, thank you. I cannot go back to United States with a child in my arms, as much as I love to, as much as you're gonna see pictures of me holding children. But I think when you are in service, you lose the focus and you lose your priority of things that you can say yes, but also things that you have to say no. And that's when I like to talk about the healthy boundaries.
Emotions. Practice gratitude, remain humble, exercise compassion, give yourself permission to be human, embrace all of your emotions.
That is a topic that we learn in positive psychology, that in order to be happy, it's not about just being happy. It's about acknowledging your emotions, acknowledging the feelings that you have. And sometimes feelings can be, I get angry sometimes seeing things in villages that I feel like is unfair. Of course, I'm not going to express that, but I'm going to acknowledge that. And then the other thing too, I remember being in Haiti right after the big earthquake, I'm sorry, because I went to both. The hurricane. And then this child came to me and he looked at me in my eyes and said, "Are you feeling so sorry for me?" And I said, "Actually, no, I'm feeling just love. I'm so in love with you, and I'm so in love with you, your people, that I'm not actually feeling sorry." It's that permission to be human that Tal Ben-Shahar talks about, that we are humans. We are going to feel things. We are going to cry in moments that you're not expecting to cry. Sometimes you're going to be, if you're exposed to real world, it's impossible not to feel things, especially now with COVID-19. We are living a collective crisis. It's collective, it's a worldwide collective crisis, right? So yes, let's feel things, let's acknowledge things, but let's redirect this negative feelings to a positive feelings. I do that with my husband every day. Every day, in order to exercise marriage, we go through emotions, we go through the negatives, and then we redirect it to positive. So I also think that serving, it's not, and then we're going to go to the next slide. If you actually, let's go to the next slide. It's frozen. Is that possible?
No, it'll just hit it one more time.
Okay, perfect. So what I like to talk here is the ripple effect of Aspire. It's something that has to start with you. You needed to practice your own spirituality, your physical, your intellectual, relational, and emotion. It's you. You extended that immediately to your family and friends and community and people close to you. Family also is not just the genetic family. I'm talking about the spiritual family, right? That we connected to people when we consider them family. And then you extend it to your community, your local community. That didn't quite happen to me. I went from individual family to global community and then went back to fill up this gap. And then you go to your global community, working globally. I get the opportunity to receive FACE award for a nonprofit organization for the work that I was doing with social responsibility, social justice, and social inclusion. So it is a place to start is in yourself. It's a place to start. It's a place to begin the service with the kindness to yourself, to the care for yourself. It's sometimes, and my mother, she used to say that to me quite a bit. She used to say, it's easier to serve others than to serve yourself. We are so ready to help others sometimes, but we sometimes forget that we need help. We need help too. Just one second. Like now, I need help to put some better on my computer, right?
Some juice in the computer,
Just
yes.
my computer, otherwise I'm not going to be able to serve.
Well, you know what, I was thinking about something else that Tal Ben-Shahar said related to the emotions. Mm-hmm. And that is like, there's one channel, right? If you want to feel good, you also have to feel all of it, right? Yeah. So it's not about blocking any of them. And also, I really am struck by your, and I think we'll see it in the next slide, that responsibility to oneself as well as to others that you're discussing.
Very much so, very much so. And I like it to think that service leads to happiness. that leads to hope, because sometimes you are bringing hope to others, but others are bringing hope to you. And I do that because I'm very much into peace. I'm very much into a peaceful world. I come from a place that is not peaceful. Brazil is a very violent country. I grew up with a lot of violence around me. You know, I had threatened to be kidnapped. I went through big traumas of being in a place where I couldn't find peace. And then I noticed that peace comes from within, but also comes with each other, how we can be peaceful within and with each other, you know. And who are the people that elevates you? Who are the people that creates a good environment, safe environment for you? And I think that's what I need when I go to serve. I needed to feel like the communities that I'm serving are peaceful community. And I had actually said no to some invitations that I got to go to areas of conflict that were really like Sudan. I had said, no, I can't. I know my limits, you know, in order for me to be helpful, I need to feel safe and I needed to feel peaceful. And I've visited Bhutan twice. I'm involved with some projects in Bhutan. I like this picture because it says that I'm locally rooted, but I'm globally competent. I love this. And then as Nancy had inspired me to do the infinite moving of giving, it's giving and receiving. And then what I've learned through my experiences is how serving was impacting on my emotions, how serving was impacting on my joy, my gratitude, my serenity, my positive pride, my amusement, how these people inspired me. Not that I went there to inspire them, but how I was inspired by them. And that's moments of awe that I could never, ever had experienced if I haven't been in service. And the love, you know, as we talk about the love 2.0, that is the love of the micro moments. So by saying yes, I got to meet so many extraordinary people in my life. I got to go to the Amazon. I go to put programs for semester at sea and other universities where I got to inspire these people also to think beyond borders, to feel beyond borders, you know. You see the rainbow, I have a little rainbow there. This rainbow travels with me to so many countries, and I put a lot of people under the rainbow, you know. And then I have this flag that we are one, let's keep peace on earth, that travels with me also all around the world. And then this is my visit to Ghana in 2003. They asked you what was my commitment to the village. I said that I was going to bring the students to the village. I started bringing many students to the village. They asked me if I could be their queen, their godmother, their queen mother. I said yes. So here I am. And this handsome guy with a beard is my son, Mateus. So I think it's very important for children to be involved in service from very early age, you know, because this is something that it's easier to learn when you are already with your heart open and the kids are already with their heart open and to get involved. So Mateus has been in this journey with me. 10 years old, he was already traveling with Semester at Sea as a student, and I was traveling as an interport lecturer. And yes, here I am with holding a child, but my criteria of helping was not to bring a child home. My criteria of helping was empower this village to raise their kids in their own village, you know, because I could solve maybe one problem, but I wouldn't solve the problem of the village. And then in 2008, we founded this community service called House of Gaia, which means the House of Mother Earth. And we start serving in very large proportion locally with other nonprofit organizations, teaching kids about the world, teaching kids about social responsibility, very early age, at age 2 or 3, they're already doing service. I remember one time I was bringing diapers to the special needs in Haiti, and this 2 years old was kissing the diapers before they were packing on the bag that I was bringing to Haiti. And we work with schools in Naples. We go to the schools as well. We do a lot of outreach as well. They come to our center. Now the center is closed because of safety. I don't see any way to open the center until we have really security, because a lot of our students, they had problems with their immune system, so we don't want to take a risk. And it's a happiness center. It's a place of joy, of love. When I put relief, is because I feel very relieved by helping my local community as well. And I teach Aspire to children, you know. I teach Aspire, and the early age of Aspire is 5. We have like 3, 5 years old here, and it goes to 15 years old, where I learned that they're doing service to each other as well, because the 15 can learn from the open heart of the 5, and the 5 can learn from the 15 with a pink hair. You know, how come she has pink hair and I don't? You know, so one gets to teach another. So I don't divide my group. I'm very Montessori in that way. I don't divide my group by ages. I think all ages can learn from each other. And think, everything done with volunteerism. So these older kids are already learning how to provide service to the little ones. And this is my work in Haiti. It started in 2010, right after the earthquake. And I think what is relevant about Haiti is that Haiti had experienced the end of the world in 2010 when the earthquake happened. They had no water, they had no buildings, they had no hospitals, they had nothing. They had no food. And so if anyone would like to learn what the end of the world is, it's a visit to Haiti. And I kind of broke a little bit my criteria about safety, because Haiti is not safe. And I went to Haiti. I was very limited how I was serving, but nevertheless, I was in a safe place, which is the children's home. I led many groups to this place. And they learn a lot about all the things that you can learn in positive psychology with Haitian people. Resilience. They learn hope. You learn so much, and I learned so much. And this guy little guy with this big head, he was the most effective teacher that I ever had in my life. I know we have beautiful names in the positive psychology. There are my teachers right now, but this little guy here, it was the embodiment of love. How this guy was in the crib, waiting for the moment to be fed, waiting for the moment to be held. There was no cry, there was no complaint, there was nothing. If you can look at his eyes, it's just saying, I love you. It was just pure, pure love. So, you know, how am I doing during COVID-19? I'm doing well, because I exercise my gratitude a lot. And I know I have water, and I know I have food, and I know I have access to you, to internet. I have access to everything. And so if I keep myself safe, and if I keep myself, you know, if I can feed myself, if I can wash myself, it's just, if I can breathe, yes, I am doing well. Because this teacher taught me so much, and taught about patience, because his life had a very short life, and he was just waiting to die, but very patiently and very beautiful. I love my work in Asia. I loved feeding, I don't know, over 4,000 monks rice. They practice a lot of service by letting the monks to be served by their community. So the community cooks their rice and cook their food, and every day they go around the community collecting their meals. I love the work in Thailand with children that didn't have a bowl, didn't have nothing. Their snacks were a cup of water. And then so when I brought the balloons, they were absolutely happy and hysterical and so thankful and so grateful. I love painting with this monk because she is a woman of service. That's one reason why she shaved her hair. So we are both women of service. And she did dedicate her life to serve, and she never ever had touched a art material. And a lot of the work that I do is through the arts, because I think art is a universal language. So sometimes I don't speak their language, I think I can sit and do art with her. And I probably stayed like an hour and a half doing art with her without exchanging any word. And we were working on the same paper. I do a lot of community art work as well. And I loved meeting some of the special needs in Bhutan as well, what they call the land of happiness. We know that they are focused on the gross national happiness. And I got to be visiting many products there, and they're questioning what is that they're promoting. So it's a country in reflection right now for happiness. And so, I couldn't sit over COVID-19. The first month, I even didn't know if I was going to be surviving, and we still don't know. We have to be careful. But I knew that I had the solidarity. I knew that I had the sense of prosperity, that if I had food, others had to have food. I knew that I had to act. I knew that I had to respect very much everyone that was suffering, everyone that was in a stage of anxiety, everyone. I had to be highly respectful, and I knew that I had to exercise my kindness. So I came up with an action for community. I do a lot of actions for community that calls for solidarity spark. And we then started collecting food for two major nonprofits that were feeding migrant works, farmers work. If you eat a tomato, anytime you eat a tomato now, I want you to hold that tomato and think of this migrant works, okay? Because they're from Florida, they are from Immokalee area, and they're the ones that cultivate most tomatoes eaten in the United States. I know because I brought a group from NYU to do community service with them. And we started collecting food, cultural sensitive food, not Asian food to migrant workers from Mexican, but rice and beans. And so you have to think ahead what you're giving. It's very important. It's not what you want to give, but what they need. So we were able to fundraise in less than 2 months, $2,500 worth of food. We're still going with this campaign. We protect ourselves. And then in November, we are going to have a safe car parade, and each car is going to represent a strength, a character strength. It could be gratitude and love, because we want to call the awareness for our community that more are in need for food. So if you decided that you want to create a community action wherever you live, you can contact me, and I will help you to brainstorm a community action in your community, okay? And you can do a spark, what I call ignite the spark of your community. Then you have it to, if you want to be the one star, because you do have a star quality, you use your knowledge, your experience, your skills, you work with others, you set your goals, your safety, your strength, your positive emotions, you share your gifts, so you can be the change you want to see in the world. And I'm going to finish mainly saying that, can you read this for me, Caroline? Because I can't.
Sure.
This is my mantra. I wrote that in one of my journals, and every time that I forget, I read it again, and I reminded myself.
The future depends on what we do in the present. It is our responsibility to be aware of the changes in our planet and in our environment. It is our right to seek solutions. It is within our power to act and get involved in the process of change in the world, so our future can be prosperous, filled with equal education and health opportunities, where peace can prevail and we can be one. the future depends on what we do in the present.
Yeah. So I would like it to end it with that. Um, true happiness, true happiness. I was feeling absolutely blessed because my Down syndrome students was able to go to Haiti with us, and he was able to fulfill his purpose. He loves doing service, and we didn't limit to his disabilities. Instead, we focus on his abilities, and he was there as one. And it might be utopic from utopia for me to say that we can all be one because we are so different and everything. But I have lived life moments in my life where I felt we were one, and this is one of my moments. And this is my contact, and I'm going to stop sharing. Did I stop sharing?
Yes.
Yes.
But why don't you put your contact up one more time, just so that I think people might want to know how to get a hold of you, get in touch with you. If you can share your screen one more time.
The easiest thing is, yeah.
Oh, and Phoebe's typing it in the chat. Fantastic.
Yeah, if we do houseofgaia.org. I'm also a person that I'm very, very busy, but I don't hide myself on the busy of me, you know? And so just be spontaneous, be authentic. You wanna talk to me, give me a call. You know, we don't have to schedule a call. If I can answer, I can answer. But if I can, I will talk to you. I return your call. I'm very approachable. I'm not like, you know, you want to do something in your community, you don't know where to start, or do you want to share with me how you serve? I would love to hear what you have been doing, because if you're probably in this channel, in this moment, it's because you're probably already doing something, or you have an urge to do something. So absolutely feel free to reach out for me.
Well, Lulu, let me just see. I just have to say that it's extraordinary to see your work and to witness how many places around the world that your gratitude and generosity has touched. And this idea of spirituality being a way to, or spirit, the S of spire, being a way to access your uniqueness, your unique way of doing something seems to be a theme within what you're talking about, whether it's an individual contribution or it goes global. It's you, each person has their own gift that they're able to bring to this challenge.
Absolutely. And there is never like it too big or too little. You know, a smile can be a game changer for someone, you know. It's hard to smile with masks, but I've been training how to smile with my eyes, you know. So we can smile with our eyes and the others feel, you know.
I love that. And it's really true. You know, I heard recently someone say that it's great to be a problem solver, but sometimes then we can focus only on the problems. And what I love about your work and the positivity lens that I haven't seen so much in others is that in addition to focusing on the problems and finding solutions, what you're also focusing on is that space in between, right? Between people, the relationship, and enhancing that. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is that a unique perspective to you, or is that part of your organization?
I think it started with me, and then I taught others, you know, because the thing is that when you grow up in Rio de Janeiro, where your view is the slum, you have a beautiful apartment, penthouse apartment, but your view is the slum. How can we not build the gap? I can't. And that's one reason why I went to work with the street kids, and I started my volunteer very early, because I just couldn't sit in a beautiful view to that slum and see the slum, you know? And then the other thing about the positive, it's like when I went to Haiti after the earthquake, there was nothing there. Only military, it's like a war zone. we now think that we are seeing something terrible, but we are not. There's worse. And the Holocaust people saw that, you know, and the genocides around the world is still happening now in Sudan, you know, and so if we put in a spectrum of sorrow, the world has been suffering that sorrow forever. But somehow society tries to put like a mask on the sorrow. And so I am the one that takes the mask from the sorrow. And then I use all my strengths, which are positive, you know, gratitude, positive spirituality, and positive creativity to deal with that sorrow and bring a little bit of love into what I do and have that exchange. And so I am who I am today. I'm 55 years old. I am who I am today because of everybody that touched my life. You know, so I don't live a ordinary life. I live an extraordinary life because I serve. Not because I have a big car or because I have this or because I have the material things, but what this spirit had led me to go. And so today I hold my globe like this because that's how I see the world. I see the world in my hands. I see the world in my heart. I put the world that I meditated in my third eye. I love the world. I kiss the world. I talk to the world. You know, I like it to tell my friends, go and travel with me. You know, let's make this possible. And also loving my local community, you know. So, and I teach in my community this love of the world because it's this one house that we all live in. If we don't get along, it's hard. And it's showing by COVID-19 how hard it is, right? Because why we're not learning with the others, they're already living a normal life. And there's so many things that I don't understand, you know, why we are mixing politics with health, that they should be separate, you know, why we're not learning with doctors, the ones that actually went to universities to learn. So I feel like the world is not integrated. And one thing I love about positive psychology is how they like to integrate things. You know, is the architect working with the lawyer, is the therapist working with the lawyer, or the educator working with others. And it's a kind of, we have it to integrate more our world. And so that's what I like. I like it to take the mask of the pretending that everything is okay, look at the sorrow with compassionate eyes, empathy without transferring, you know, because I cannot absorb all the sorrow in the world. I would be burned out. And then at the same time, just to be able to keep going. And so COVID-19 did not stop us. And, and I'm in contact with all these organizations in Manaus because they suffer quite a bit in the Amazon, in Brazil, you know, Haiti, because they had stopped going people there. They are okay, you know, and other peoples are okay. Asia is okay doing right now. We are not okay. No, we're far beyond to be okay. But I feel sorry that I talk too much and we don't have time for
No. This was beautiful. And what I love about this week in particular is we really have an international flair to our lunch and learns. And on Thursday, we are going to be having a presenter from India, and to have you, you know, and you reflect what I'm coming to understand the most about positive psychology, which is looking at reality, right?
yes,
Looking at reality and
with
taking and
the
making a choice.
with the eyes of compassion.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking at reality with the eyes of compassion.
And then I just, Phoebe, I know that you put it in the chat. Um, do you want to just unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about our
Yeah,
speaker? on
Um,
Thursday?
yes, and thank you, Lulu. Talk about elevation. You have all kind of, just presented us with a call to action today with your beauty. Thank you. And so today, just to announce on Thursday, we have Sakshi Tiku from India. She is a psychologist and a experiential teacher. She teaches the social emotional learning at a boys' school in India, but she consults in all kinds of settings. And she's going to bring positive psychology, of course, an alumni of the certificate in positive psychology, how she uses positive psychology to engage teenagers in schools. And right now, we certainly need that. And most of what she's going to be presenting in her amazing talk is experiential. So we'll be interacting, and then I think Lulu, you're also going to provide your slides for us today, and also Sakshi will do that as well. So come again on Thursday. It's something that's really applicable to all kinds of settings, and she is so generous and worldly and lovely, just like Lulu is.
Yeah, and one of the pillars, I understand, Phoebe, of positive psychology is to actually spread this around the world, this science, this philosophy, so that other people can benefit from it, and we can create the peaceful world that, Lulu, you certainly are doing your part, and I'm definitely elevated and inspired.
Ivory Tower to Main Street was some of the founders' initial vision. And then, of course, Tal Ben-Shahar and the Whole Being Institute really took that into becoming an ambassador of this. So first applying it to yourself, and then really starting to internalize it and living it, and then teaching it in whatever area you can gain influence.
Beautiful. I leave you with this thought, everyone. What is the ideal time to have planted a tree to reforest our forests? Well, perhaps 20 years ago. What's the second most ideal time? Now. So get into action now. Do what you can, and keep coming to the Lunch and Learns, and we'll keep talking about it. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us. Lulu, thank you for sharing with us and for sharing with the world. Take care, everyone. We'll see you on Thursday.